desperate have you gotten for love? When you've swept left and walked away from date after date wondering when you'll finally meet that person, have you ever pondered how far you'd go to make it work? Do you think you'd go this far? Tonight I'm sharing an undead love story from Peru. The hacienda owner's daughter and the deadly date.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.
Ding! Once there was a peasant by the name of Emilio who worked so hard, much of life passed him by and he found himself an old bachelor, not so much by choice but by circumstance. And this saddened him, as he had grown very lonely. One night he took his woes to a local drinking hole to commiserate over a glass of pisco. He told the bartender his story, and the bartender had a very interesting revelation.
Have you considered asking the hacienda owner's daughter, Fabiana, for her hand? As if her father would allow her to marry a poor old man. Rumor has it that she is on the verge of spinsterhood due to her unattainable demands. Demands that have nothing to do with money or status. Just ask Carlos and his friends, they know the tales. Okay, here's what I can tell you. The lord I worked for pursued Fabiana's hand, and a few of his cronies did as well. Her father dotes on the girl. He's given her permission to choose her spouse. And she only has one requirement. That he be the bravest man among all men. That's her demand? There are plenty of ballsy guys around here. I agree, but so far, no one has fulfilled her wish. Further, they've come away from her door sick to their stomach and trembling. I saw it with my own eyes. Do you know what it is that made them so fearful? Nobody knows. They've all been sworn to secrecy under the penalty of death.
Emilio considered this. He knew Fabiana was a beauty. Plus, the reward was steep. Marriage to the hacienda owner's daughter would mean he wouldn't have to work so hard. He might not have to work at all. So the next morning, he put on his best duds and knocked at the door of the hacienda. He met Fabiana and her father, who told him their requirements of potential suitors. He'd have the opportunity to dine with Fabiana that night, and then the following night he'd submit to her test of bravery. The initial dinner they shared was fantastic. Fabiana was lovely and very sweet, and the pair got on well. When the time came to part, Fabiana had a few words.
I'll see you back here tomorrow at midnight. Midnight? That's late. You're not scared, are you? Oh no, I'm not afraid, just really surprised, but I'll see you then.
The following evening, just before midnight, Emilio returned to the hacienda. The house was quiet and dark. Emilio tapped at the door, but no one answered. He knocked again. A long spell of silence passed. Then he heard rustling behind him. He jumped and turned around. Fabiana stood in the shadows. She wore a long, billowing gown that floated around her in a ghostly manner. Her hair hung around her shoulders, long and greasy, and her eyes were rolled back in her head. She was Aubrey Plaza at her witchiest, zombie Miss Havisham, blind date with the lady from The Ring.
Hello. Oh, wow. That is a look.
What? Is my outfit freaking you out?
No. I love the monsters. You look lovely.
Follow me.
Emilio followed the hacienda owner's creepy daughter through town, curious as they left the city behind them and crossed on foot through the seedier neighborhoods. Not that he thought anyone would be bothering them with her tricked out like the Crypt Keeper. The pair walked out of the city until they reached an old, neglected cemetery. Emilio could barely make out the shapes of the dilapidated headstones as they left the street lanterns further and further behind them. Still he followed, finding the path by tracing Fabiana's ghostly figure. She walked Emilio to the furthest edge of the graveyard, where a small headstone sat crooked under a tangle of trees. An old shovel leaned against one trunk, and Fabiana pointed at it with one long, pale finger.
Dig up that grave as if your life depended on it.
You want me to dig up this person's grave?
Are you too scared to do it?
No, I'm not scared. I'm surprised. I didn't expect to be grave robbing on a date tonight.
Emilio dug where she pointed, turning over the dirt farther and farther down until the spade hit the hard lid of a small coffin. Fabiana cackled and scrambled down into the grave, splaying her hands over the coffin as if it were a treasure box.
What are you waiting for? Jump in! Or are you too scared?
No, babe, I'm not scared. I find you fascinating. I'll be right down.
He flinched as Fabiana wrenched the lid off the coffin and threw it out of the hole like it was nothing. Inside the casket was a small, decayed body, which did not appear to be a person of means, so grave robbing was out. He gaped as Fabiana licked her lips and grasped one of the corpse's arms. She pulled, and the arm separated from the corpse's shoulder. Hungrily, she pulled it to her lips, about to take a bite. But she saw Emilio hesitate.
A good husband would share a meal with his wife.
Oh, you want me to, okay.
Hastily, Emilio grabbed the other arm of the corpse, grimacing as it gave beneath his fingers. Fabiana began to devour her share, so Emilio just decided to fucking go for it. He sunk his teeth into the meat of the arm, only to discover it wasn't meat at all.
Wait a minute. Is this corpse made of bread? Yes, it was all a joke! Oh, I have finally met the brave man of my dreams! I will marry you if this whole charade hasn't put a bad taste in your mouth. On the contrary, this is the best corpse I've ever tasted. Oh god, that's a joke, right? I have never eaten a dead person.
Yes. Fabiana staged a spooky prank where she pretended to eat corpses and tried to get her dates to eat them too. Her idea of a brave man was one who would desecrate a body if she asked, and you know what? Emilio did it. Not only that, but their second date was the first instance of the everything is cake craze. Usually it's not great when one person's red flags exactly match the other person's red flags, but this time, those two red flags made a heart. The end. If you enjoyed that story, I share some other spooky and silly tales in my book, Fucked Up Fairy Tales, available now wherever you most love to get books. And actually, I have another Peruvian folktale from the same collection that I found this one, so I think you would enjoy it if you enjoyed this story.